Welcome. There are times when growth feels heavier than expected. You're learning, you're reflecting, you're doing the work, but it doesn't always feel light. Gratitude is often misunderstood as forced positivity. It isn't. Gratitude is a stabilizing force. It doesn't deny difficulty. It grounds you inside it. Today we're looking at how gratitude strengthens inner resilience, not by ignoring reality, but by steadying perspective. Personal growth is often presented as an uplifting journey. We see it portrayed as a constant upward climb toward a brighter, more capable version of ourselves. The narrative is one of motivation, expansiveness, and boundless energy, and sometimes it truly is all of those things. There are moments of exhilarating clarity and profound forward movement, but growth can also feel deeply confronting. It can feel heavy, slow, and uncomfortable. This is because real, sustainable growth requires awareness, and awareness means turning a light on in rooms you've kept dark. It means noticing the patterns you once ignored, the habits you performed on autopilot. You start noticing where you've been reactive instead of responsive, where you've abandoned your own boundaries to please others, where you've allowed self-doubt to make your decisions, where you've chosen comfort over courage. That sudden, sharp awareness can feel weighty. It carries the gravity of past actions and the responsibility for future ones. But this weight is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that you are finally seeing clearly. You are waking up to your own life. This is where gratitude becomes essential, not as a way to distract from the discomfort, but as a necessary balance, a counterweight to the heaviness of what you're uncovering. Without gratitude, awareness can quickly turn into a relentless cycle of self-evaluation, a harsh inner critic that focuses only on flaws. This leads to constant correction, constant striving, and a constant, exhausting internal pressure to be better, faster. Gratitude interrupts that punishing cycle. It offers a moment of pause, a breath. It reminds you that even in the midst of this difficult work, growth is already happening. The very act of noticing is progress. It reminds you that strength is already forming within you, forged in the quiet commitment to show up for yourself. And it reminds you that your effort has inherent value, even and especially when the results feel slow to arrive. Gratitude is often described as emotional, but its real impact is structural. When you consciously recognize something stable in your life, your nervous system receives a signal, not a dramatic signal, not a rush of inspiration, just a steady message. Something here is working, and that message changes your internal state more than you realize. When growth feels heavy, the mind defaults to scanning for gaps. What still needs improvement, what still feels uncertain, what still feels behind. That scanning creates tension, and tension over time becomes pressure. Not because you're weak, but because your system believes it must stay alert. Gratitude interrupts that alertness, not by pretending everything is fine, but by widening the frame. Instead of asking only, what is still missing, you begin to ask, what is already strengthening? That shift may seem small, but small shifts compound. Maybe you paused before reacting. Maybe you recognized self-criticism sooner than usual. Maybe you maintained a boundary, even if imperfectly. Maybe you felt discomfort and stayed present instead of escaping it. That is growth. And when you recognize it, you reinforce it. Reinforcement is powerful, because whatever you repeatedly acknowledge becomes more visible, and whatever becomes more visible becomes easier to repeat. If you only acknowledge mistakes, your system stays in correction mode. If you acknowledge steady progress, your system shifts into reinforcement mode. Correction creates tension. Reinforcement creates stability. Stability reduces unnecessary mental noise, and reduced noise increases clarity. Clarity is what makes growth sustainable. Without clarity, growth feels chaotic. With clarity, growth feels structured. Gratitude builds that structure quietly. Take a moment with that. Think of one situation recently where you handled something even slightly better than before. Not perfectly, just slightly better. That recognition matters because it stabilizes your internal narrative. And when your internal narrative stabilizes, your sense of self becomes steadier. That steadiness is inner strength forming in real time. Gratitude is often described as emotional, but its real impact is structural, felt as stability you can return to. Each time you notice what is working, you lay another quiet beam in that structure. Over days and weeks, the frame holds more weight with less strain. You feel the difference in how you meet challenges and how quickly you return to center. The work is still real, but you are better supported within it. This is the quiet strength gratitude builds. Returning to that strength is a practice. Simple, repeatable, grounding. You are already building it. Keep noticing, keep reinforcing, keep widening the frame. Ask what is already strengthening. Let that answer steady you. Let it be enough for today. Tomorrow you can build again, quietly, steadily. The structure holds, and so do you. One small recognition at a time, one steady breath at a time. This is how inner strength is built, from the inside out, through gratitude as structure, through attention as practice, and through repetition as strength. You are strengthening already. Stay with it, quietly, steadily. You're building a life that can hold more of you. General gratitude sounds like, I'm grateful for everything. Specific gratitude sounds like, I'm grateful I chose not to react immediately. I'm grateful I listened to my body. I'm grateful I didn't abandon myself in that conversation. Specific gratitude anchors behavior. It tells your nervous system, this is safe, this is aligned, this is repeatable. Over time, this changes how you see yourself. You begin to recognize strength as something active, not something you're waiting to develop. You begin to see resilience in real time, and that reduces urgency. You stop feeling like you're behind. You start feeling like you're building. That shift is subtle, but powerful. Let's reset together. Growth can feel serious, sometimes intense, sometimes demanding. Gratitude softens that intensity without weakening discipline. It adds balance, not by reducing effort, but by stabilizing perspective. Without recognition, growth can start to feel endless, like you are always behind, always correcting, always catching up. That narrative creates pressure, and pressure over time drains clarity. Gratitude shifts that internal narrative. Instead of asking, what still isn't enough, you begin asking, what has strengthened? That shift changes how you see yourself. You stop viewing yourself as unfinished. You begin recognizing yourself as developing, and development feels steadier than deficiency. At the end of the day, you don't need a long ritual. You need accuracy. Where did you act in alignment? Where did you handle something with more awareness than before? Where did you pause instead of react? Even one answer matters, because recognition compounds. What you acknowledge becomes visible. What becomes visible becomes repeatable. And what becomes repeatable becomes identity. Over time, identity stabilizes behavior. Behavior stabilizes emotion, and emotion stabilizes perception. That is inner strength forming quietly, not loudly, not dramatically, but steadily. This work strengthens over time. Notice small wins today. Name one aligned action. Breathe. Let it land. You are developing now. Progress over perfection, always. Reinforce what is working. See steadiness taking form. Pressure lowers with recognition. Clarity grows with practice. Identity forms through repetition. Return to center, gently. You are not behind. You are building daily. Keep attention, not urgency. Gratitude stabilizes perspective. Stability calms your system. Calm supports wise choices. Choices repeated become strength. Strength repeated becomes you. Quietly, steadily, continue. Stay with us if you're ready to continue building that inner strength, cultivating inner strength and healing from within.